Hey guys, Bald Head Greg here, back at you with another video. We're back on the Mule today, and Go Power Sports has these 34mm Makunis. These are true Makunis, not knockoffs, and they are round slides. So we put it on there. Didn't check the jet size. We was just going to go with what was in it because I didn't have jets at the time. But Go Power Sports sent us a pack of jets. They started at 170 and went all the way to 200. So we started trying to crank the Mule today, and it was just spitting out fuel like crazy, like running super crazy rich, spitting fuel out the carb. And basically they come with a 260 jet, like a 260 jet, which is massive for these engines. There's no way you'd ever need that. So luckily Go Power Sports sent me those jets, so I put a 180, and we're going to start with the 180 and see where it gets us. So we put the carb back on, and it was still spitting fuel everywhere. It's like spitting it out the carb. I grabbed the pull handle and pulled on it, and it didn't have any compression. If you remember, this was a built engine with a billet rod, a 275 lift cam, and we put some shaft rockers and took those stock style rockers off. I pulled the valve cover because I was about to start pulling the head. I thought maybe we didn't. So we thought the valves might have not been seated, even though it was all new stuff. You know, that's kind of rare occasion. So I was like, oh well, I got to pull the head. I wasn't happy about it. So I pulled the valve cover, and I seen a little bit of dust laying on those shaft rockers I used. We had valve cover clearance issues. You can see right there where our rockers was hitting our valve covers just a little bit. Right there, a lot on that ridge. So when you're done shaft rockers and ratio rockers, you'll have this problem. I just didn't expect it out of a more stock part, so I didn't even check for it. This is a valve cover that comes on a 460 big block kit. That it's basically like a build your own 460 kit. And it looks to be like it has, if you look, you know, this top of this little ridge right here is almost flush with the side, while this one starts out a little lower. Looks like this one might clear, but another thing you can do is take a punch, dent it where it makes contact, pull the, you know, put this back on, pull the engine over, or you can buy a spacer as well. I think Go Power Sports carries the spacers. If not, I know they're getting them. They do carry them for small block engines, but they're just now kind of breaking into the big block stuff, and I like big blocks a lot. So all we have to do is tighten this puppy up, and then just turn the engine over by hand. We'll see what the dealio is. I hope she fires right up. There's a 75-foot burnout. She got compression, so that one clears, which would make sense because it came with the 460, and it came with those shaft rockers. You can get the standard or the shaft rockers. So you would think that the valve cover would be. So he's designed this valve cover just to have that much more clearance in there. So now we can see if it'll fire. It's always the scary part, nerve-wracking. Oh, she's in gear. Okay, so let's see what happens. She's rich. But another thing is, so some people are saying, doesn't the factory engine run backwards? For some reason, Kawasaki thought it'd be a good idea to make a clockwise rotating engine instead of a counterclockwise, which all of these go-kart engines are counterclockwise. So that means when we drive this thing, reverse will be forward and forward will be reverse until we basically swap this diff around. It will work perfectly fine, but normally your reverse gear is weaker than your forward gear. So we can't do like crazy stuff with it, or we risk breaking the, busting the transmission. But basically we're going to be at a 14-to-1 in forward and 11-to-1 in reverse, because reverse being forward, forward being reverse. But it'll work perfectly fine. People's done it before, so it'll just be super low geared. If you think about it, a golf cart's a 13-to-1 ratio. This will be a 14-to-1. It'll only run like 30 miles per hour at like 6 grand.
All right. Oh. Safely breathe the brakes.
We didn't have the right jet combination for that 34mm Makuni, so we put like a Chinese knockoff of a Kian carb, a flat slide, that I've had on the shelf forever. And luckily the jets that factory coming in, it's still rich, but it's good enough to run. So we got some jets coming in for the Mikuni, the pilot jets and main jets, so we can tune it in, because I'd rather have that round slide Mikuni on it than a knockoff flat slide, to be honest. But it's running good now. Good enough. And now we got to bleed the brakes. We got a brake shoe in for this back rear brake. That's the one that was in the mud. Now we just got to bleed it out. We're going to pump all the fluid out of it, and then should be able to test ride it, hopefully. Oh,
Ooh, looks like syrup.
yeah. Like a scouted dog. Look at that. That's the header wrap smoking. So I think I'm going to pull the CVT cover off. And look, that belt was really tight, but that shouldn't really affect anything. So, and I do have a new belt Go Power Sports sent us. So I might have to swap that belt out. And when we swap that belt out, we can put a new front pulley, new dry pulley. But we can pull the side cover off, watch what it's doing, and see how it's slipping. So I'm going to take his dumb headgear off. Alright, so
we're gonna turn it now.
This one's decent, but it's still got some drag on it.
Yeah.
We're gonna pull both wheels and tires off, and then try to clean the rust and junk out of the drum, see if that's our problem. Hopefully it is, because it was slipping the belt like crazy. But I'd still imagine it shouldn't slip the belt like that. Even with some drag, it should stall up and bog the engine, I would imagine, but I don't know. We do have that new belt and pulley we can put on. So we're gonna try this first. Daniel's got one side freed up. I pulled this side off and he's trying to get it to adjust. We're thinking the master cylinder may be a little bit seized, so he's got to pull it off there and clean it. But on the other side, he's got it working pretty smooth. We just hit the brakes a while ago, so that's why it's tight now, but it'll have a little drag being drum brakes. So pull this one apart, take the master cylinder out, clean it, and we'll see what happens. Alright, after messing with this thing, it dawned on me that this pulley, since this engine's running this differential in reverse, this pulley needs flipped around. So I put some washers behind both pulleys to get them aligned. This belt's still tighter than you would want it, but it's the only thing we got right now. Now we have to spin the shaft around to get this key in, and then we can put this bolt that I made. So basically I took the original bolt, since it was a metric left-hand thread bolt. I took a 5/16 bolt, cut it down the size, and did a taper on both of them and welded it as a solid bolt. It should be decently strong. All we're doing is keeping this bolt in there with the washer to keep the key from sliding out. So now I can thread this right in there, get this, and we can finally take it for another test rip and see what she does. Hey, I can make it harder by tensioning things up.
Now flip backward.
I don't like doing that. I can't see where I'm landing. I'll go back this way. I'll go this way. I don't know. I can hold myself like that all day.
Yeah, it's not hard.
Well, do it then. Challenge accepted.
Oh, I should do that while we ride down the road. I'm just hanging off the side.
Alright, so we was having that problem with torque converter being a jack weasel. What the problem was this pulley was designed, these rear pulleys only are designed to go one way, depending on how the spring setup is and junk. So we basically had to flip this, and I had to make that bolt that you just seen. So sinted. So that is a Go Power Sports 40 series torque converter that I put the 2100 stall springs in, stock back pulley, stock belt. So if we ever wear out a belt, we just buy another Kawasaki Mule belt. So that'll be handy. Or actually, Go Power Sports can get those belts. So if you ever need a CVT belt, I'll let your boys Go Power Sports. They will hook you up. So we can latch our bed down. Braxton's going to sit in the rear. Oh, you're going to face forward?
Oh, that would be dumb.
I would think you'd face backwards. Hey! So Braxton's getting his seat ready. Lonnie's going to have a GoPro, and we're going to have Braxton hold a GoPro, and we're just going to ride around and see the town.
Put this on your head, and I'll use the one on my helmet.
You ain't wearing a helmet, you sitting?
Yeah, I don't trust your driving though.
Hey!
That's what I said, wear a
I'm
helmet.
not going to drive like that.
Never.
Till somebody falls out.
We should wear the vest and act like we're not even plug them in, just wear them and be like, dude, we're so cozy. Hey girl, what's good? What's happening? It's your girl Monique.
Okay, so we're going to go hinge snort on the Mule. She runs good, little rich, but it'll be okay. So we're going to go around the backyard first, and we're going to go down the dollar store and climb some hills. Try to throw Braxton out. This thing is freaking sick, dude.
Yeah.
That DuroMax has that 275 cam and a billet rod. That's a ridiculous. I mean, it's geared at a 14-to-1. That's why.
Yeah,
it's,
so.
But dude, that thing handles. Let's check.
Not very strong on the top end, but you don't need it to be.
Like it's 30 mile an hour is what it says it'll do at 60 or at 6,000 RPM. So, which is plenty for what. Dude, this thing's gonna be awesome at Windrock. I'm gonna grab another belt for this thing to keep on us. And keep the tools, of course, but this is our tow rig, dude. I bet this thing would tow
Anything.
Yeah.
It told me.
And see, what's cool is this seat's just a Go Power Sports seat for a Yerf dog. We cut the back off, and Braxton's been sitting on the back part. Dude, it runs amazing. It's crazy how good this thing is. And I wish I could put that torque converter side cover on, which I actually can, but it's going to overheat that belt without the snorkel system. So what we're going to do is we're going to hook up, once we get our 18 amp charging system, we'll hook up a little fan that'll dissipate heat through it. I like to dump it, dude. Look at that.
Yeah.
So Becca's got her a sick look, and Becca hasn't even drove it yet. I think she's going to fall in love with it. And the suspension's, it's tough, but it's not crazy bad.
It's still, it takes away some of the bump.
Yeah.
Like at the top of that, it jerks you around.
It rode a wheelie, it felt like. Was we popping the front end up?
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
I mean, it felt like the front end came up quite a
You want to fly up and I'll film it from the top? We'll see.
bit. Yeah.
It like pops up for a second, but you're not like getting any air or
You
anything.
gonna go climb your mom's hill?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's underneath that. You just prop that thing up.
I'm just gonna sit on my knees like this.
Next time on Redbeard's Garage.